Speaking of this, President Trump is taking a victory lap after the conclusion of the Mueller report. He's bringing topics like border wall, health care back to the national conversation. Trump's even going to call on Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff to resign. So could we be in a new era of Trump with the majority of the Mueller probe behind us and a re-election campaign right around the corner? Well, for the 360 view, we have to turn in to our political panel. Former Georgia State Representative LaDawn Jones and Carrie Sheffield, founder of Bold Media. Thanks for joining me, ladies.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, Carrie, I got to start with you. I mean, do you want to do your little happy celebration dance? I've let every Republican this week come on and do it and get it out of their system. Some you want to see, some I would like to get that image out of my head. But I get it. The president's excited that it's over. It's been a long 2 years for him on this issue, or at least he thinks it's over. But as Karl Rove pointed out, Republicans have been screaming for the last 2 years, let's also talk about policy. So should the president just move on and let's get talking about his agenda and policy points?
Yes, and look, I'm not going to do a victory dance because the taxpayers lost, the American people lost, American voters lost because they voted in President Trump to have his policy agenda, and he was crying out to focus on the policy agenda for so long, whether that's fighting the opioid crisis, whether that's now he's moving on to health care. I applaud him for moving on to health care and having this focus on substantive policy. I think this is a really poor reflection on Democrats in the mainstream media and how biased the mainstream media was. Your previous guest was talking about the failures of the media, and I completely agree. I mean, 77% of Americans, according to Monmouth University, say that the mainstream media is creating fake news. And so now the president is finally, I hope, the mainstream media will finally allow us to have a national conversation about issues that actually matter.
Well, it's interesting you talk about issues that actually matter because, LaDawn, there's been some fire yesterday. The Secretary of Education, DeVos, came out for education. She got under fire. Obviously, the repeal of the Affordable Health Care Act came under fire. Those type of agenda points definitely are controversial. At the same time, House Democrats are casting doubts on the Mueller report and dragging that out. But why don't they just actually say, you know what, it's done, we're over, we're moving on. Let's go to these controversial headlines that are still enough to make people want to tune into the news and find out what's going on with this administration and Congress relationship.
Well, let's just be honest here. Anytime your president, your newly elected president, is accused of potentially working with a foreign government, I think that that is important information that both the media should cover and everyone should know about. However, there was nothing throughout this entire investigation stopping President Trump from leading. It was him who decided to hamper in on this issue over and over again. And in fact, I think it is President Trump that owes the American people an apology. It was because of his attempt to obstruct. It was because he continuously brought it up about how bad the investigation was and how bad the FBI was. He owes the FBI and our law enforcement an apology because he should have just let them do their job quietly while he focused on the issue. So I agree with you. We want the Democrats to be focused. In the same way Nancy Pelosi said they're not jumping to impeachment, we want the House Dems who are in charge to focus on good policy issues, but Trump should have been focusing on that all along.
And yet we still see conversations about Michael Cohen and his testimony. We still see the circus is still continuing up on the Hill, including Republicans. We do have House Intel Republicans are calling for Adam Schiff to resign. Carrie, is this a PR stunt, or is this actually something that Republicans think could really happen? I think President Trump even tuned in today and said the same thing. Do they actually expect Schiff to actually follow their request?
Well, Adam Schiff lied repeatedly. He lied repeatedly to the American people. So when you have your leaders who are directly lying to you to try to smear the president, that tears at our civic fabric. That's what I don't get about liberals and Democrats. They're always saying that this president is trying to undermine our social fabric, trying to undermine our norms. There's a norm called presumption of innocence. So I think it's a sham that my co-panelist is saying that the president should apologize when people tried to destroy the concept of presumption of innocence. The fact that Jim Comey told under oath 3 times to Congress that he had told President Trump, you are not under investigation, is all the evidence we need to know that there was no obstruction. Because the definition of obstruction means that there is some investigation to which you would have been obstructing. So this entire process was a kangaroo court meant to undermine democracy, and it is the Democrats' fault. And I think it is incredibly dishonest for my co-panelists to say that it's the president's fault. Well, and it is a lie to our taxpayers. It is a lie to our face, the way that Adam Schiff lied to to us. He said that Adam Schiff said directly that he had evidence of collusion. That is a blatant false lie.
So real quick, do Democrats want to see the full Mueller report? That's how we find out the truth, unredacted, released to the public. LaDawn?
Absolutely. We want to see the full report, and I hope that they will respect whatever is in that full report. But if you have any question about whether or not Trump could be focused on the facts, why is he talking about Jussie Smollett right now in light of all the other things going on? Because that's the kind of president we have.
A lot of conversations a lot of people are having. I'm sure he'll talk about all of them tonight at his rally for sure. LaDawn, Carrie, thank you for joining us.
Hey YouTube, thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this last video. We have a ton more great content just like this for you. So if you want more, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. And remember, never stop questioning more.